Andrew, do you have anything on the wage gap? Because she mentioned that.
I've got something. You said that you do OnlyFans?
Yeah, it's very small,
Okay.
but yes.
So men who do OnlyFans make a fraction of what women make on OnlyFans. Would you say that men who do OnlyFans are oppressed because there's a wage gap between them and women?
And is it due to sexism? The wage gap on OnlyFans, is that due to the sexism?
Well, it's because of the patriarchy, probably.
There's actually not really a
supply
wage.
and demand.
But so why is it supply and demand when women have an advantage, but when men have an advantage in some field, it must be evidence of sexism, wage gap, and patriarchy?
No, because this was a
gay
business
men have
based off of
OnlyFans
sex.
too. It's just not.
Yeah, this is an industry based off of sex.
And
so
let's talk. Let me ask you a question.
There are not as many gay people as there are straight. Gay men who want to buy porn do not.
Why don't straight women want to consume?
Because I don't want to buy porn.
Not at the same frequency that men do. But let me ask you guys. Let me ask you guys a question. Hold on. Okay. Do you think, for example, the WNBA or women's soccer, right? You hear stories they're paid less than their male counterparts. WNBA players make far less than male NBA players. Do you think that is evidence of a wage gap? Do you think that's sexist? Do you think that's
men
unfair?
don't watch it.
But do you think it's unfair? Go ahead.
I think it's less of a wage gap and more of men. So men are the main consumers of sports content, right? And then they generally don't have a lot of respect for women's sports. They don't.
Maybe they just don't want to watch it, just like women don't want to watch male sports. Sorry for interrupting, but
or males OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's
I would think of it the same way as like the OnlyFans. It's almost like being an independent contractor. There's no set wage. Okay. Now, for other jobs where there are set wages, like the medical profession or like the medical field, you can see a huge gap in men's salaries versus women's salaries.
In the medical field?
Yes.
Or just
are you telling me that
jobs.
female doctors and male doctors get paid vastly different wages?
Yes.
Working the same hours with the same credentials in the exact same discipline?
That's according to the studies that I've seen.
What were the male wages and what were the female wages?
I mean, I can pull them up real quick if you want to come back.
Well,
it's probably just a fraction less, but it's still there.
Well, just going back to the...
I need the exact number.
I honestly, I'm calling cap. I think if there's...
women are caregivers.
Hold on. I think if there's a male doctor and if there's a female doctor and they have the same degrees, the same qualifications, they're working the same job. Let's use surgeons as an example, extremely highly paid. If they have the same degrees and qualifications, they do the same kinds of surgeries, and they work the same hours, I would be willing to bet they're making the same money.
But it's proven that they're
more likely to get
do you
hired
have
as
any?
well,
Yes, they are probably more likely to get hired.
Do you have
Probably
female?
Yeah,
doctors.
because they can pay the women less.
No, they can't.
They pay.
No, if there was a hospital that had listings for surgeons and there was a female surgeon and a male surgeon and they were doing the exact same job but they were paying the woman way less because she was a woman, she could probably file a lawsuit against that hospital and sue them to high heavens.
This has been legislated since the 1960s. If it was the case that corporations could get away with paying women 25% less, 30% less, whatever the number is, corporations would just hire women.
Yeah.
As a businessman, if I could save 30% on wages paid to employees, and they were just as competent, I would, of course, just be hiring women.
But in the eyes of, would you hire all women?
If he could save 30% on his bottom line.
His question is like this, right? To frame it easy.
I didn't get to answer the.
If you are the head of a corporation, let's say you're one of these female CEOs, okay, and you see that you can pay women less than you can their male counterparts to get the same amount of work out of them, then why wouldn't corporations leverage that in order to bring in more women employees and pay them less? That's the question.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I'm not a CEO. I honestly don't know. I don't know how they do it because, like you guys said, it's illegal. It's technically
yeah,
they put them at lower. There's a hierarchy in all jobs, so the men get the bigger. They get the bigger parts of the jobs. They get the better employment.
Okay, but
benefits
even taking
so
that
there's there will be someone ahead of a company, and then people working around them are mostly men, and then under those men there's the women, like in American Psycho, where Patrick Bateman had his assistant that was a woman. She obviously is getting paid less, and that's usually their part.
Wait, she's getting paid less.
What do you mean she's obviously getting paid less?
Patrick
Because
Bateman.
You don't even know how much Patrick Bateman's assistant is getting paid.
Because
It's
she's
a
an
fictional
assistant.
movie.
I know.
Wait,
but-
so are you saying the assistant?
for an example,
isn't he a lawyer in? Is he a lawyer in that
No,
film?
he's an
or-
investment
No, he's an
banker.
investment banker.
Okay.
But
So the assistant should be paid as much as the investment banker?
No, he's
I'm
saying
saying-
she's definitely getting paid less because she's a woman.
no, I am saying
Versus-
that
Even though
she-
we don't know her wage in the movie.
Versus the other
Am I allowed to finish?
non-existent
you guys
male assistant?
You
Go
guys
ahead.
misconstrued
Go
my
ahead.
entire what I was
Okay,
trying to
go
get
ahead.
at, so I would like to
Okay.
finish
I need
that.
to return some
I-
tapes, but go ahead.
I'm saying that they're hired at lower positions than the men in those and whatever. I'm speaking from like when you're working.
Sorry, I didn't mean to press that. My bad.
Thank you, but yeah, there's a hierarchy. So yes, there's going to be more men that are the investment banker.
Grid One Motorsports donated $200. I refute wage gap. Wish I could have gotten hired only on the basis of being a woman. The privileges a woman is afforded are off the chart. Thank the patriarchy.
Oh.
And I wanted to finish the part about me because you guys asked before.
Oh, like how are you? Are you oppressed? How are you
Yes,
oppressed?
and I was
Okay,
going to answer.
Sure. Let's
I
go
don't
back
believe
to that.
I am oppressed because I make a good wage. I mean, as a woman, societally, I've been treated different. I don't know if you've had the, are you going to get kidnapped when you're a child? When you're a little boy, did your mom pull you aside and tell you these things that you're going to be a victim,
My mom was terrified I would be kidnapped.
Yeah. So, but a lot of men aren't told those things. Like women are raised that way to where we're.
I was-
we're
Well,
scared.
actually,
I was
speaking
told that.
speaking.
But
of
I
the-
don't believe now. I'm saying now.
Okay.
But I believe in general, yes, that women are oppressed. But I am at a place of.
Well, just I want to add one little.
I
point
have
to-
more. There's people that can't speak for themselves that are of less status. I make enough money. I have my own apartment. I'm able to pay my own bills and that kind of thing. So I don't believe that I am oppressed because I work by myself, like personally.
But when you
me.
were a young child, you were oppressed because there were fears
No,
that you
I'm
would
not
be
saying
kidnapped.
the oppression thing. I'm saying that I don't believe I'm oppressed, but sex workers in general and women
Are oppressed.
Yes, the
So
lower
why
couldn't they
the
just,
lower
like,
the
choose
status.
not to do it, though, and
women
stop
are
the
of lower
oppression?
status, so they generally societally
Are they?
a lower status. Yes, besides being
Not sure I agree with that,
being able to get free drinks at a bar, which is like wonderful,
or not,
cool.
Not being
I mean,
subject to military conscription.
What is it that, when you say status, what do you mean by status? What do you mean by they're a lower status in society?
Because women are just of lower status. We're not
That's
taken
just
as.
begging
That's a
the
rather-
I'd say
question.
different status.
That's a rather
but-
sexist
So you just-
statement for
so-
you to make.
So if I ask you, if
I mean, I
say,
guess
what's the
consider me-
He's not
distinction?
making that statement.
I mean, I guess
obviously.
consider me sexist.
She just
I-
did.
No, but what I'm saying is that if I ask you what
I'm
makes
genuinely
them,
trying to.
Yeah, if I say what makes them lower status, and you say because they're lower status, it's regressive. So you're just kind of restating
yeah.
the claim.
How
so
are they
Okay.
lower status?
What makes them lower status?
Societally, there's a hierarchy. There's just a hierarchy. Men are up here, women are here.
That's a pretty sexist
depending
statement.
Do you think-
depending on
What can
what
women not
and
do
then
that men can?
and then what can women
Do you think
I
men?
was talking
Do you
with
think
them.
men are more valued than women?
Yes, absolutely. And
Let me ask you a question then.
especially if sex
Hold on,
workers
hold
are
on.
of less
One
and
of the
less.
rules that we talked about at the beginning of the show is when either of us are talking, you
I
need
was-
to stop. Brian wanted to ask you a follow-up question. You keep talking over everybody else on the panel, okay? Let him host the show, please. I'm starting to get fed up with it.
I'm trying to. I'm just bouncing.
I know
off
you're trying. I know you're
conversation.
making a lot of
It's
different
okay.
points.
It's all
but,
right.
like,
It's all right. It's okay. It's okay.
I'm not.
I'm
okay
not
with
trying
it.
to disrespect. I'm
Don't
trying
worry.
to bounce off the conversation.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I'll continue with the conversation.
Yes.
So, if it is the case that men are more valued than women, why is it the case that throughout all of human history, when there's a war, for example, men are the ones who are sent to war to go and to die? in my view, I believe that men are actually viewed as the disposable sex. I would argue that women are more valued because when it comes down to warfare, men are going to be the ones that are sent to war to go and die. Men are disposable. Women are valued.
When women went to war in the 50s, or when men went to war...
In the 50s, are you talking about the Korean War? What are you talking about?
What war did women go to?
I'm not well versed in
which war did women go to?
Which war did women go to?
But there's a certain war time period where women were taking the work. They were doing all. They were sending the clothes. They were in the workshops.
Is that them going to war or being part of the war effort?
They would have to go.
Just let me finish, please. But go ahead. No, I was. You interrupted me. Go ahead.
I'm okay. I'm gonna.
No, go ahead.
I would like you to finish.
Just go ahead. You said when women went to war, but I think you were talking. I was trying to clarify your point. I think you were trying to say that women were assisting with the war effort. But are you talking I think you were referencing World War II. Women did not, at least in the United States. There's maybe one Russian sniper division. I might be using the wrong word there. Women in mass were not involved in World War II from a combat perspective. But so, what were you saying?
I forgot.